And good evening, everybody. Welcome to another edition of the Captain Lou Extravaganza. We are live here on 12 Ounce Sports, 12ouncesports.com, and follow us, of course, on YouTube on the Captain Lou Sports Network simulcast there, and the 12 Ounce Sports Network on YouTube. Follow us on all of our platforms on social media, Twitter or X, whatever you want to call it, our Facebook pages, Instagram, Twitch. You name it, we're there. That's 12ouncesports.com. And, of course, the Captain Lou Sports Network, the Captain Lou Extravaganza Facebook page. Follow us there for all the latest news on everything going on with us here on the Extravaganza and, of course, the ACHA Power Play. Tonight's show, as always, is brought to you by JaviCoffee.com. If you like instant coffee, you like it quick and easy, hot or cold, use Javi Coffee. It's 1 or 2 teaspoons or a tablespoon, however strong you want it. Regular, decaf, salted caramel, French vanilla, all the flavors. Go to javicoffee.com. My favorite's the French vanilla. Love it. And make sure you use the promo code Captain Lou for 15% off of your first purchase and every purchase. That is javicoffee.com. Again, follow us on our social media handles. They're on the bottom of the page. On X and, of course, on Facebook, Twitter, Instagram, like I mentioned, whatever. Twitch, we are the Captain Lou Extravaganza and 12 Ounce Sports. Great to be with everybody here tonight. We're going to be joined by a friend of the show, Brent Radlinsky of the 1420 SportsBar Podcast. He's going to stop on by in about 8 minutes. We're going to talk about the big game. That, of course, is Super Bowl 58. I think we're allowed to call it that. But we've got the lead up to it. It's only, 5 days away. 6:30 Eastern time will be the kickoff. Travis Kelce and the Kansas City Chiefs against Brock Purdy, Christian McCaffrey, and the San Francisco 49ers. We're going to break it down, give you a couple of interesting prop bets that I might go with this weekend in the big game, and we'll see what Brent has to say. We'll talk about what his go-to meal is going to be for the Super Bowl as well. Also, with the end of the football season, that's where we really start to transition into the NHL season. The All-Star weekend was last weekend. You can call it the halfway point. It's a little more than the halfway point with some teams with 50 games under their belt. So the stretch drive is coming up in the NHL. So we're going to talk to Brent about who he thinks are the surprises, what teams maybe to look for yet in the run to the Stanley Cup playoffs, because hey, they're only 2 months away now, just about, to the Stanley Cup playoffs, and some teams that are trying to jockey for position in the NHL. So Brent's going to stop by and talk about that as well. So a lot to go over here on the show tonight. We're glad you're with us here. Again, follow us on Twitter at The Real Captain Lou, on Facebook at the Captain Lou Extravaganza, 12 Ounce Sports on YouTube as well, on both pages, as we've got a lot of great shows on our network. The Daily Dive, the best lacrosse show in all the land with Michael Caravellis, and of course the Sports Stance, and also the godfather of 12 Ounce Sports, Jeff Beck, with his show. He's going to be coming up here tomorrow night at 6 o'clock, and he's going to give you the lowdown on everything that's going on in the world of sports from a Buckeye point of view. I got to get this shot in. I've been dying to do it. I think it's been 1,530 some days since Ohio State has beaten Michigan in football this year, or in football. So we'll see what they can do against Sharon Moore. So we'll keep that in our back pocket here. I know we're going to have some banter back and forth with Jeff, but I also got to remind him, little college hockey in the NCAA last weekend. They got the brooms out down in Columbus as Michigan took care of Ohio State in 2 straight hockey. And Michigan's a bottom feeder in the Big Ten. But what team did they beat a little while back for the first win they've had in a long time? Oh, that's right. It was Ohio State. If you don't see me here next week, that's probably why I'll be put on a week's double secret probation for knocking Ohio State. But you know what the heck? It's all in good fun. Jeff's had his run over Michigan all these years, so I had to get those shots in as we get back here on 12 Ounce Sports. Well, I think what we're going to do right now, I think he's all set to go. Let's bring in a good friend of the show. That, of course, from the 1420 Sports Bar podcast. Let's bring in Brent Radlinsky. Brent, how you doing, my friend?
Lou, long time no talk. How are you? I'm great.
Oh, that's awesome. Yeah, it's great to have you back on the show. And it's time to get set for the big game, Super Bowl 58. Are you ready for it?
This might be one of the more one of the bigger games I've had my eye on for a little bit. Like there's no real favorite. I think this year it's going to be a great game. The conference championship games were both great, so I think we're in for a doozy on Sunday, and I can't wait for it.
All right. Before we get to that, let's go back. I want to get your opinion on the conference championship games. Let's go right to the elephant in the room, Detroit and San Francisco. Let me get your take. What do you think? Should they have kicked the field goals? Hindsight being 2020. What's your opinion?
It's at Lou. I think it's at a point now where people forget that how to play sports and how to coach and everything. I'm always a proponent of always get points. Whenever you can get points, take them no matter what, because points are hard to get. Defenses are tough and everything else. Always take the points no matter what, because you don't know what can happen on the next play, the next series, there's so many factors that go into in any sport. There's so many factors that can go into any play. You think about a guy, there could be a penalty, there could be a fumble, there could be a turnover, there could be whatever it could be. Always take the points when they're right in front of you, because it's a very simple thing, Lou. The team who has the most points always wins.
Well, I got to tell you, I didn't have a problem with him going for it. Camel's been doing it since he stepped foot in Detroit 3 years ago. And I know it's a different animal when you got an opportunity to go to the Super Bowl. You're this close. I get it. But, that's been his mentality. And I don't have a problem with it. And I'm sticking with my guns. I said it right after the game on Facebook and Twitter. I'm not going to use him as a scapegoat. I got to give credit to San Francisco for how they came out in the second half with their sense of urgency. If you get a chance, Brent, read Alex Anzalone's article in the Players Tribune about what he said. And, I'll share it to you after the show, maybe on Twitter. And it was amazing. And what, how the players are sticking behind him. And it was a gut punch, but you know what? I'm the glass half full guy. I cherish the run, and I got a feeling Detroit's going to be back.
Well, and that's the thing. Like if Detroit gets the first down and moves on and scores a touchdown, he's a hero, right? And then if he doesn't, no matter what, if he didn't go for it, there would be a good percentage of people saying he should have went for it.
Yep.
So there was, no matter what, he was going to be in trouble for no matter what decision he had.
Yeah.
For him to not get for Detroit to not win that football game. I'll be honest with you, I was at an establishment at halftime, and we left. I thought it was over. I honestly got home, started cooking, turned the TV back on. I'm like, what the heck? It was crazy. And then for them to not get it, but I think Detroit's in a really good spot. I really do. The city, the way that not just the city, but the state and Lions fans came out and were really behind that. And like, I'm not going to lie to you, I was cheering for the Detroit Lions to win that game, just for the excitement of it all and everything else that was going along with that team. I thought the momentum that they had after winning a couple playoff games the first time in how many years, that they were just one of those dynasty things. You're like, this might just happen. And then, it just didn't. But I think Detroit's in a good spot. I really do. They got a coach and Goff and everything else, and I think that you're going to have people, free agents, maybe wanting to go there because you're close, right?
Yeah, and they've got about $70 million in cap space, which is good. That's a good position to be in. They're going to probably re-sign Goff. I hope maybe just 3 years. If they would have won the Super Bowl, I think he would have probably got a max contract and a statue here in Detroit.
Or three. I'll
take 3 years, maybe 45 to 50 million. That way they're not bound to him for 5 years, but it's going to be interesting.
Well, that's the thing about these quarterbacks, and it's league wide. It's not just
Yeah.
Detroit. It's not Kansas City, and we'll get to them in a second, obviously. But these owners really they hook onto their quarterbacks. You need a good quarterback to win,
Yeah.
and I think you do. But I'm more of a guy. You need a serviceable quarterback to win a lot, because I don't. Not everybody has Mahomes and everything else like them. But if you go and spend a lot of money on a quarterback for a long period of time, then all of a sudden they get a little bit older, like you're saying with Goff, and then what? And you still need someone to throw the ball to and everything else. It's crazy to think that that these guys make money a lot of this money like with what ifs, right? What if it's crazy.
What do you think of Brock Purdy? I know he's had a couple of comebacks, looking shaky in the first half, but when the chips are down in the playoffs, he's shown to be money, at least this year.
He's almost, and we'll get this will be clickbait for sure, but he's almost Tom Brady 2.0. Came out of nowhere a little bit, like he's kind of like he's at that position right now, and if he can somehow squeak one out on Sunday, just the way Brady did in his first year, second year, whatever it was with New England, when Drew Bledsoe got hurt, it's the same kind of a story with Purdy, and he does enough to win. He's not flashy. He's nothing great. He's not running around the field all over the place. He does what he needs to get done with the people that are around him. And he's in a good situation with Coach Shanahan there, that he gets it done, and he's not trying to do any more. And San Francisco is in a situation right now where if they don't get it done this year, then when? Because all of a sudden you got to pay Purdy, and you got to pay this guy, and you got to pay that guy, and that's we talked about before, how the money of every sport. You just have a situation like if you don't win when these guys are on their early contracts, then when are you going to do it? Because also I got to pay you, and I got to pay you, so now I don't have anybody to protect you. So it's a thing. It's going to be interesting. I think Purdy is real good. He's not in that upper echelon, but I think he's real good. Good, and it's good enough for what San Francisco has. If Purdy was playing in Green Bay, who knows? Right. But he's in a system right now that it works for him.
Who do you think? Well, I'll ask you this question a little bit later on, but let's get to the other game, the AFC Championship game. And I fell for the press clippings for Lamar Jackson, Brent. I honestly thought that was going to be the game for him to shine, and he laid an absolute egg. Now, I don't know if you blame the offensive play calling, the scheme, or whatever, but oh my goodness, they took the bait that with the late hits and the taunting, and Kansas City just it was amazing how they got in their heads from Lamar Jackson all the way down to the defense. It was crazy.
I 100% blame Lamar Jackson for this one. This was the year you're supposed to do everything. And on our podcast, we all season long, this guy's the man, this guy's the guy, it's his time to do it. He's going to overtake Mahomes. And he didn't. He just didn't. And then when Kansas City scored in their first drive, I thought, this one's, and it wasn't a blowout by any means, but you saw that game. And I think that the Chiefs and Mahomes, that they did enough to win. They didn't have to overexert themselves. They didn't have to do anything that was spectacular. They said they're going to put up points. We'll put some up. It was just one of those games. And I blame Lamar Jackson 100%, because this was his time to go that next level. Because he'll probably win the MVP, but who cares? Yeah, who cares? Big picture. I think like the postseason awards are all fine and dandy and everything else, but when you at the end of your career, when your plaques in Canton or whatever it might be, or at Cooperstown or in Toronto, the Hall of Fame, nobody reads how many MVPs you won. Nobody cares. Yeah, they want to see how many championships you won, because that's all you're described as a Super Bowl champion. You don't walk up to a bar and say, I won the Super Bowl or I won the MVP in 1985. No one cares. Right. Nobody cares. And Jackson didn't play great, and he didn't get it done. And the taunt, like you said, the taunting penalties. I can't remember that cat's name he made the reception. The
Flowers,
Flowers. That turned that game around. That didn't turn the game around, but that made the game what it was. Like right then, you knew that Kansas City was going to win that game no matter what. At that point, because the moment got too big for those guys.
And you're taught this as a kid, and not just in sports, but in life in general. The one that retaliates is going to get caught.
Every single
In
time.
anything. Kansas City was taunting them at first. God love Travis Kelce. I'm not saying this because it's with Taylor Swift, but his act, he was taunting. He was, jaw jacking and everything. But for Baltimore to fall for it and do that crap and get those late hits, it's just like, come on, you guys. And that shows no leadership. And I just was amazed by that.
100%, Lou. That's the thing, is that when you're the champion, you're at the top of the hill like the Chiefs are.
Mm-hmm.
You're going to get a lot more breaks.
Mm-hmm.
Like it's hard to win. We've talked about before how hard it is to win.
Oh.
And when a team wins and a team has a pedigree, they get away with it just a little bit more.
Yep.
Just not a lot, but just a little bit. And that little bit can go a long way, as we've seen in that football game with Kansas City and Baltimore. And you see it like it's unbelievable and that's what winning does. You get that confidence, and you know what you can do. And then so next year we can push it a little bit farther.
Yeah.
But until you win, you can't push it further.
No.
Because the referees say, this is my job to call that. I'm calling this. He's Patrick Mahomes, and he's done this. He's Travis Kelce. He's done this. You're nobody. What have you done? Yeah, sure. You won a Heisman at Louisville. Nobody cares.
Yeah.
Right. So when you winning breeds winning, and that's what Kansas City did last week.
100%. So so now we've got the big game. They've had a week off. They've had a chance to rest a little bit, and now they're doing all the interviews and whatnot. Kansas City right now is a 2-point dog. The line keeps shifting a little bit. It goes from 1.5 to 2.5. Over under 47.5 right now. Brent, the question I was going to ask you, the first question on this game, who has the most pressure on him? Do you think Kyle Shanahan has the most pressure on him right now in this game?
I think he does, because this is as good as like I said earlier on with Purdy. Like, if not now, then when? If we don't do it now, then when? Because 4 years ago they were in it, and with what the heck, Garoppolo as a quarterback, they didn't win.
Yep.
And then they lost in the NFC Championship game last year, and they didn't win. And so if you don't get it done now, then when? Because all of a sudden your team's getting older, and Mahomes isn't getting he's not getting younger, obviously, but he's not getting worse.
Right.
That team isn't going away. The NFC is of the two conferences, I think they're a little bit weaker, but so they have a chance. But Green Bay showed that they were a better football team this year, and on it goes. So there is some pressure for sure on Shanahan to get it done, because they've been licking the jar for how many years now?
Exactly.
And then if you don't get it done now, then when? So I think there's a huge because teams disband, free agents leave. If I don't win, because guys playing career, especially in the NFL, are so short.
Mm-hmm.
And if they can get a couple of bucks somewhere else with a chance to get a ring, and on it goes, they're going to leave. Right. And it's one of those things. And Christian McCaffrey isn't getting any younger. All of a sudden, I don't want to say long in the tooth, but running backs take a beating. He's probably their best player.
Yeah. What,
right? All of a sudden he's banged up for another year, and not injured, banged up, but just like the wear and tear on his body. It's like, okay, like we need to take advantage of what we have now. And if they don't get it done this year, are they back next year?
Right. And, we saw, we talked about it just for a second earlier. They had the slow start against Green Bay, and of course the slow start against Detroit. I don't think they can afford to do that against Kansas City on Sunday. God love Detroit, and even the Packers, but this is Patrick Mahomes and Andy Reid. I don't think they're going to fold the tents like Detroit did in that second half. San Francisco can't afford to do that again.
If they go down 14, or give up early points, if they give up scores on back-to-back drives to open the game and don't respond, this could be a long day for San Francisco, because for Kansas City's defense has been really good. They struggled earlier on, but things started going a little bit. And like you just said, the Kansas City, they've been really, really good. And when you have two guys with clickbait like Kelce and Mahomes are the big dogs on that scene, people forget about the defensive side of the ball, because they're just going to score to win. But they didn't put up a ton of points. If Lou, what they get 18 last week or a week and a half ago, whatever it was, If you would have told me that you could have held the Kansas City Chiefs to 18 points, you think Baltimore would have won?
You for sure.
If you would have woke up on Monday, whatever happened to you, you missed all day Saturday or Sunday, woke up on Monday and said Kansas City scored 18 points, you said, well, they probably lost the game.
Yeah.
Right. And so it's fantastic. It's crazy but they get lost in the realm of things because of the Kelsey and the everything else. But if they give up points early and often, and only three, I don't think they can afford to do that. I think San Francisco has to have some early stops, not give any momentum at all to Mahomes, because he gets better as the game goes on. Yeah. And he's one of the only quarterbacks that I find, and there's a few other guys, but not a lot, that can manage the clock a little bit. And because he has the legs that can do it, and he can run the ball himself, he doesn't need a running back. He can just scramble and this and that and wear clock down. I think San Francisco will be in their best interest to not give points up early and maybe jump up to a 10-0 lead after the first, or else it might be a long day for the San Francisco 49ers.
You know, I think Patrick Mahomes, Brent, is already a Hall of Famer when it's all said and done. You know, but if they win this weekend, you got to start thinking of him as an all-time great with the likes of Tom Brady, Terry Bradshaw, Bart Starr, some of these quarterbacks, Joe Montana, that have won multiple Super Bowls. He's got to be up there in the top 3 or 4 if he's not already.
Well, that's the funny thing about winning, hey Lou, is that you can be a great, like Dan Marino didn't win.
Oh yeah.
Right. And on it goes. And Mahomes playing in the free agent era where there is some turnaround of players year in, year out, and finds a way to win. And everybody is every year, like since Mahomes come in, he's done nothing but win. Yeah. He's got the 2, lost one back in his 4th one. Yeah. But he's got a few years left in him.
Oh boy.
And if he wins this one, he's an all-time great. He's like, I agree with you 100%. He is in the Hall of Fame. There's no getting around that.
Right.
Like if he were to say, you know what, I'm good. I got 300 mil in the bank, family, on and on. I don't need to do anymore. They look great, like all-timers don't think that way.
No.
But Mahomes is definitely a Hall of Fame guy. And if he's if he gets this one, there isn't many better. Brady and then him.
God,
and we talked about on our show last week that Mahomes is kind of like Connor McDavid. In comparison, like you think that Tom Brady and Gretzky, because of the greatness of those two, and McDavid and Mahomes, like McDavid is the best hockey player ever, not the greatest, but the best.
Yeah.
And you can kind of do that with Mahomes and Brady and say that Mahomes might be the greatest because the way he can move, run the ball and everything else he's got going on and the intangibles he brings. He's not the greatest, but he's the best.
Yeah.
Like it's that comparison.
What a great comparison. That, and you just touched on it briefly, the great players, a majority of them don't quit while they're on top. Not that he's even thinking about it, but, he's going to be around a while. And speaking of being around, how long are they going to be around? Now, Andy Reid said he has no intentions of retiring, but would you be surprised if they won on Sunday? Or do you think he's still got that fire in that old belly of his?
Well, I remember, Lou, and this is probably near and dear to your heart, when Scotty Bowman called it good on the ice that year after, what was it, 97 or 98 when they won that?
2002.
2002 was that late.
Yep.
And then when he won that one, and he told, I remember it dearly. Like I remember watching that, and Chelios was skating around the ice.
Yep.
And Bowman whispered in his ear, basically said, "Yeah, this is it. I'm done."
Yeah.
And Scotty or Chelios told him to F off, and like it was the mic was on. I was like, "Oh yeah, Jesus." I could see, because if you when you get to that age, I know you have the fire in the belly and a certain desire to win, but the grind's got to be like enough, and the wife must be like, but maybe the wife's like, "Okay, can you just go? Like, can you go to work? I don't like having you around or getting a consultant role, because like he's getting long in the tooth." And I could see if the Chiefs won this one, he probably, because you'd want to finish on top.
Yeah.
And being a coach, you don't have. There's so many variables that aren't in your control. yes, football coaches probably control more than most sports do, but eventually you lose that, a fumble here, a fumble there, a turnover, penalty, and you lose. It's not your
Yeah.
fault. And so if you go out on top, well, I would. Like
Yeah.
I'm sure he's financially sound. I'm sure everything's fine. I would call it good. Like what else, Marty? What else can you do? Or do you maybe I'll ask you this question: do you keep going till you lose?
Man,
You know,
it's tough. It's tough, because you also don't, and I wonder if he looks at what happened to Bill Belichick. He
bad luck right now.
yeah, and his last few years, especially this year, was bad. And I just it's so easy for you and I to sit here and think, oh, I should go out on top, but it's just like old broadcasters. You want to do this till you're 90,
Yeah.
and you don't want to give it up. But yeah, it's you touched on it, Brent. The coaching grind is just, it gets more and more difficult, I think, not just at the pro level,
And
but look
now
at
with
college.
managing, because now these guys more than ever, you're managing
Yes.
personalities, you're managing attitudes. I mean, the Yankees had it with Joe Torre back in the
Yeah,
day,
yeah.
obviously, and those days. But now you're managing social media. Now you're
Ugh.
managing the agents more. You're managing all of it more, and you
Yeah.
wonder when it would be like, I've had enough. I'm good. Like I'm a football coach, or I'm a hockey coach, or I'm a baseball manager. And you go, you know what? I'm good.
Yeah.
And you just wonder, like, you look at the Belichick thing, like you brought it up, Lou, is that Belichick will ever forever be linked to Brady, no matter what, and the great
Right.
run they had.
Yep.
But now Brady, because he got that one, it isn't linked to Belichick as more as where Belichick is linked to Brady. And now that Belichick has had a couple of down years, it's like, well, how great was he?
Yeah.
So it does Andy Reid think the same way now? Does he think,
Yeah.
"Ooh,
Yeah.
Jesus, if Mahomes
Yeah.
goes somewhere else, who am I?"
Yeah.
Not he's not like anybody else will afford him. Well, anybody could be. A team would find money to get Patrick Mahomes in their team if he
Oh,
came up for
for
a
sure.
deal. But
For sure.
you wonder if you would kind of just stray away a little bit and go, "Geez, you know what? Maybe I should go away on top when there's no questions."
Yeah.
Right?
Well, Andy Reid's always going to be my favorite because I just saw it again the other day, that old video of him in the punt, pass, and kick competition.
Oh
You ever-
yeah,
you remember seeing that one?
yeah,
That's
100%.
that's hilarious. We're joined here on the Captain Lou Extravaganza by Brent Radlinsky from the 1420 Sports Bar Podcast. You've got his Twitter or X ID on the bottom of the screen here. Check out their podcast. They do such amazing work with all the sports. And check them out on 1420 Sports Bar Podcast, and of course 1420, the X handle, for all of their great work. All right, I've got two prop bets for the big game that I want to throw by you here. This is an interesting one that I think I'm going to take a flyer on this one. The over under on the amount of players to throw a pass Sunday is 2.5, and it's plus 164. I'm taking the over. I think we're going to see a pitch pass of some sort in the game.
I guarantee that one. You'll get the 14-20 seal of approval on that one, Lou. I think that was going to be
right.
4 or 5. I think Kelsey will throw one because they've done that in the past.
Yeah.
I think McCaffrey will do that because he's done that in the past as well. I think that's a guaranteed moneymaker. Put the house on that one, Lou. That's a guarantee.
Well, I don't know if my wife heard that one.
She better not have heard that, because she'll come back at me for that one.
All right. Well, that means if we win, then we'll come and visit you. Then, yeah,
there you go.
Definitely, I'm on that one as well.
That's
and
a guarantee. Yeah.
My other one is, I got to go with Marquez Valdes-Scantling, and I'll tell you why. I hit a big parlay with him and Odell Beckham, and it was the luck of the Irish because he was under 9. I think he had to get 16.5 yards in that game, and he got over on that last long pass, and it made me a little bit of coin. So the over under is 19.5 yards. I'm going to take the over again on MVS.
I agree with you once again, Lou, because I think that there's going to be some points scored.
Yeah.
Like, I think there's going to be some points scored in this football game. Yes, like we talked, both defenses obviously are stronger than they get credit for. But I think there's going to be some points scored because you do have some pretty explosive offenses with some guys who can run the ball a little bit. So no, yeah, I definitely would tend like I don't know why I'm thinking that, but I think there's gonna be a lot of points scored. So the over, anything that is a an offensive stat, take the over on it. I just have this feeling about this game on Sunday.
And with something like this, you can get that in one throw. And so I'm thinking, yeah, you don't have to target him 10 times to get 19 and a half yards, And I think the other one that I might look at that I didn't put on the screen is, you talk about Christian McCaffrey. I think for rushing and receiving, his over-under is 119. And I just, boy, oh boy, the guy is just a workhorse. And he gets better as the game goes on. He proved it against Detroit. He started running downhill, Brent, in that third quarter. And wow, I think I might lean towards that one.
I saw Christian McCaffrey live. I'm a USC guy, and I saw him with Stanford at the Coliseum in Los Angeles one year. And I think he must have ran for 1,000 yards and 19 touchdowns. It was an absolute slaughterhouse. And McCaffrey, I've been following him ever since. He's a great player, and I wouldn't. If there's an MVP, obviously it'll probably be Mahomes being the touchdown. But this is one thing that bothers me a little bit. The MVP of Super Bowls is that if the winning quarterback usually gets it, right?
Yeah,
and they should kind of stray away from that a little bit because it's all the other guys too. But if there was a prop bet on McCaffrey MVP, it wouldn't surprise me if San Fran pulled this one off.
Well, I'm glad you told me you're a USC guy. So, Brent, now that they're in the Big Ten, when they come to Michigan, you got to come down and visit. We'll go to the game and have a couple of adult pops.
I'll make the trek out there. There'll be some cardinal and gold out there in the stadium, covered with all that blue. We'll have to make
all right. Yeah. Hey, sure. If not, you can come when they play MSU because that's in my backyard too. We'll go to either one. So
there we go.
You got a place to stay. Well, there we go. It's going to be in the works. Maybe we'll do a little live remote from one of the stadiums and have a little fun with that.
I don't know if the USC decision to go to the Big Ten, it's a great financial decision, but I don't know an athletics decision if it's a very good one because it's going to be bad.
Oh, yeah. So one last question on football. Well, two. The first one is I'm going to get your prediction on the game, but Caleb Williams has come out and said he doesn't want to play for the Chicago Bears. What do you think of that?
Then don't play.
Yeah.
That would be a warning sign for every team.
Yeah.
Like, okay, don't play.
Yeah.
We lost without you. We like, it's fine. Good.
Right
fine.
on.
Like, I go. Don't play.
Love it. 100% agree with you.
If you whatever NIL money you made last year with USC, whatever it might have been, whatever money you got, you know what? Don't play. It should be. It's an honor to play in this league, and you're not a proven entity by any means.
Yes.
Like you recall Eric Lindros did that.
Yeah, boy.
Back in 1991, I think it was with the Quebec Nordiques. And but he said, I'm not going to play, and he didn't play.
No.
He sat out, and the trade happened with the then Nordiques and the Flyers, everything else, and the Avalanche ended up winning a cup because of that trade. But don't play them.
Yeah.
Fine, sit.
I'm with you.
You know what? I would draft them and then don't sign them.
There you go.
Watch this.
Yeah.
Watch this. You don't dictate this.
Yeah. Eli Manning got away with it. And to this day, I don't like him because of that. I mean, San Diego wanted him and, I don't know. I didn't like it when John Elway did it to the Colts, but what are you going to do?
I would 100% say then don't play.
Yeah.
We have a bad team. We got the right to draft you.
Mm-hmm.
If you don't want to play here, you ain't playing anywhere else. Fine.
Yeah.
And it should be a warning sign for other teams to do the same, because if he doesn't like it before he's there, what happens if you draft him?
Yeah.
If all of a sudden in week 3 or in OTAs or whatever it might be, he gets a little bit butthurt about something.
Yeah.
And well, trade me.
Right.
No, like this is how you're not bigger than the game. There isn't 20 athletes in our time, Lou, that are bigger than the game.
Right.
There's not.
Nope.
And so you know what? If you don't like it, then don't play.
I love it.
It's that simple.
All right. Give me your prediction for Sunday night. Your Wednesday prediction.
Oh, it's gonna change 14 times
between
now and then, obviously, Lou.
Yeah.
But I wouldn't put $10 against Mahomes.
No.
personally.
No.
He just finds a way to get it done. He's a controller of the ball. He controls the clock well. The swagger, he's got it done before. And this, like we talked earlier, this could be a legacy event for him, a legacy game for him to put him over the Roethlisberger, the Manning, because like those guys all have two, right? So him getting that third one early in his career, like he is, I wouldn't put any money against that. I wouldn't be surprised. I think it's gonna be a very close game. But if I was putting the two Derek Jeter jerseys I got over the shoulder there on for up for bet, I wouldn't put it against Mahomes. So I'll take the Chiefs in a close one, 33-30.
I'm going Chiefs 28-24 as a Wednesday night. I'm taking the over. Yeah. I'm going to take the Chiefs money line. I might even go +2, but Chiefs money line seems to be a pretty safe bet on that one. No, all right.
I think it's going to be a good one for sure.
100%.
Great game. Yeah.
100%. And I'm looking forward to it. What's your go-to meal Sunday night?
I always make a big bowl of chili. A big pot of chili. I started about 9 in the morning. We start brewing that up, and then I'm a big wings guy. I don't even got to be hungry to eat wings, Lou. If there's a plate of wings in front of me, I'll eat the guts out of the whole thing. I'm a wings and chili guy. Make it pretty simple. And then the wife, she likes nachos a lot, so we have some people over on Sunday, so it should be a lot of fun to watch that game for sure. I think it's gonna be a beauty. I
do too. Looking forward to it for sure. I'm right there with you with wings. We're talking about it. My wife's got one of her girlfriends from college coming up for the weekend, so I think we're just going to hang out. Wings, I think, are going to be the call, and I'm not sure what else. Maybe a pizza or two. You never know. That's my go-to anyway.
I like pizza too.
All right.
I got the other thing. If it's in for I'll like pizza too. I'll eat it every night of the week. All right.
Well, yeah. Oh. You and me both. Give me a good old Chicago stuffed or thin crust. It don't matter.
Yeah.
Just give me pizza. Oh. All right. Let's put the pigskin away because now it's one of our favorite sports to talk about too. They're all good, but I want to get the puck out and we'll start. The NHL is their quote unquote halfway point is passed now with the All-Star weekend. And, a lot of the teams are at 50 games, so we're a little over 30 games left. My first question to you, Brent, are you surprised about the start with the Vancouver Canucks with the best record in the NHL?
Yeah, I really am. Okay, you look at that team last year, didn't make the playoffs, and they made the coaching change, got Rick Tocchet, and basically the same team. And then they traded, they got, and Brock Besser's having a great season. They traded Bo Horvat away last season. He thought maybe they're in a rebuild situation. JT Miller's a good player. He turned it because he was on the outs to go somewhere. Demko was rather unproven. And then all of a sudden, they just can't lose. And you look at a team like the Vancouver Canucks. You just had the Edmonton Oilers stop their 16-game winning streak last night. The Canucks are still 8 or 9 points ahead of them.
Isn't that something?
Like, it's crazy to think you win 16 in a row and you're still 9 points or whatever it is out. The Canucks have really bought into Rick Tocchet. I know that Rick, and I know Rick Tocchet's an old school guy, and he doesn't care if you don't play this way. You don't play like I think they bought into that system, and they really bought into Tocchet's way of going about things. And so you look like hindsight's 2020, but you just asked the question. Am I surprised? If you ask me in October when the season started, would the Canucks be in first place at this point? I said, there's not a chance.
No.
But then you look now and you go, well, it kind of makes sense. That Hughes kid is really good. Besser's got 30. JT Miller's doing this. They're getting some goaltending. And they got one of those Hughes boys. There's a Hughes playing everywhere, it seems.
Oh, yeah.
And they're great players. And they have a good team. And I think that one of the things that gets lost a little bit with the Canucks is that what's his name? Tyler Myers, great big bugger. They finally have him placed where he should be playing. He's not asked to be a top 2 guy anymore. Now he's in the bottom 6, whatever they want to say. And he's getting they have the guys in the right position. They're not asking guys to overachieve. And the Canucks are getting, and I'll say it once again, I think I said it in your show before, Lou, you show me a good goalie, I'll show you a good coach. And Demko stops the puck. Demko stopping the puck, and you don't have many great goaltenders anymore, and the Canucks have one. The Canucks have a guy that stops pucks on a nightly basis, 100%.
All right, since you brought up goaltending, I'm going to take you all the way over to the East Coast before we go anywhere else. We got potentially a little goalie controversy in New York with Quick and Shesterkin. I think Jonathan Quick, but his stats are amazing. The Rangers are in first place. Quick starting his third straight game. I don't think that's not going to be an issue, is it?
I think it will be. I think it will be. Because players like playing in front of confidence.
Yeah.
Right. And
yeah.
Quick's always been a confident guy that has stopped pucks in LA, won a few Stanley Cups with the and he knows how to win.
Yeah.
And that pedigree is so big. And I like it. You can't teach that. Like you can't teach a guy how to win. That like it has to be learned. Mm-hmm. And Shesterkin hasn't done it yet. The Rangers have been licking the jar once again over the years. And Quick is so good. And I've always liked him.
Yeah.
Now he's got a little bit of confidence in him because you like with goaltending, because I'm an old goalie from way back, Lou. You don't lose your skill, you lose that thing between your ears. And Quick's never lost that. Quick has always had that confidence throughout his career. And the Rangers would be crazy to give them rest days and off days. Play these guys until they can't move. Yeah. And I don't know what's changed over the years. Like you look at Marty Brodeur, how many games he used to play in a row, and play 70 games, and then Fuhrer played 70 games, and on it went. And now these off days and rest days, I don't know if that's good for goalies. I say play these guys. They like seeing the puck. They like feeling the puck hit them. Don't give them rest day. On it goes. The goaltending's different now that their bones or joints are used differently, obviously. But I would run with Quick because the Eastern Conference isn't a slam dunk by any means.
No.
If you go on a 2 or 3 game losing streak or 4, like who knows if we make it, because the Leafs are still on the outside looking in. Or the inside looking out is a better way of putting it.
Yeah.
You don't know, like a loss here and a loss there with that hockey team as they're down 2-1 now to Dallas. Play a guy till he can't move. Like keep playing. If you win, keep playing. Keep playing, no matter what. And Quick is the guy who shouldered a heavy load when he was in LA, so he's used to it. He's used to it.
You are you surprised with any of the teams that are in first place right now? We talk besides Vancouver. You've got Dallas and you've got Boston, which I think Boston maybe surprises me a little bit because I thought they were going to start getting a little long in the tooth. And of course, the Rangers in first place. Any of those teams surprise you at all?
Boston kind of surprises me because winning is what they won 68 last year, whatever it was.
Yeah.
Year, and I thought they would take a step back. They lost to Calgary last night, which was a shocker. My mom was cheering; she's a big Calgary fan. we haven't got her to get out of that one somehow. But at 78 years old, I don't think she's going to change.
That's not going to change.
No, I thought Boston would take a step back for sure because of the losing in the playoffs the first round last year to the Florida Panthers. I thought maybe they would take a step back and not be as good as they are. But they're they're getting good goaltending. They're getting some goals scored. And then with the Bruins losing Bergeron as they did, and I thought that they would take a step back. But their program is really good. Whatever they got going on, they have a total team buy-in right from Cam Neely at the top, right down through. But the thing with Boston is that I don't think anyone's scared of them. Like, I don't think anybody is scared to play them in playoffs. Like, they might win a round.
Yeah.
But when you get through, because you said, they're getting a little older, long in the tooth. No one's thinking, because they've only got that, like with that group that has evolved over the years, obviously, but they only have that one Stanley Cup back in 2011 against those Vancouver Canucks.
It's been
so they only have one with those great teams over the years. And like when you think of great teams, they get more than one.
Right.
And 2011 is a long time ago.
That's 13 years ago already. Right. Holy crap.
So you think they only have the one. So I don't think anybody's scared of them.
No.
One of the teams that I think that is really has a chance to do something and might be one, and they won one recently, is I think Colorado might be the best team in the National Hockey League.
Okay.
I really do. I think that they're poised to do a lot of good things, and McKinnon's on a bit of a mission. Yes, the Oilers are probably after winning 16 in a row, but until you win one, it's tough. Like winning's tough, and until you win that first one, it's Vegas doesn't scare me at all. Vegas is Vegas. It's one of those things. But I think the Colorado Avalanche to me are got a real shot at winning something. They had that McCarr kid on defense, and he's a whole nother level of hockey player.
Boy, he sure is. Brent, and I think getting knocked out by Seattle last year woke them up, and I think they're playing with a purpose. And yeah, they're not in first place at the moment, I don't think, but they're going to be right there. I wouldn't bet against Colorado either. I love the makeup of that team, and I love the mindset. You mentioned Toronto. Them and Detroit right now are occupying the wild card positions. I think Toronto has a game in hand on Tampa. So they, if they do win, they could leapfrog them. I mean, it's still, we're 2 months away, but I like the position of Detroit. I think they can possibly squeak in, but that's not what Toronto wants. I mean, you and I talk all the time about this. There's so much pressure on the Maple Leafs. And I think the Red Wings are still kind of playing with house money, although the fans are starting to get a little restless here. But when do we start the watch for Toronto? When does the pressure really heat up for them, or has it already started?
August 1st. Like, it's one of those things with the Leafs. Like, they have to do something, and if they have a team, because they're all of a sudden they signed Nylander to that extension, he kicks in $11 million a year, 11 and a half, whatever it is. It's not good. It's not good in Leafs land. They have five. They have their core five that they're not in a playoff spot right now. Would I be shocked if they didn't? Yeah. But it's not a real possibility that they won't. Like, it's right there. And Detroit has a good young hockey team that can say, why not us? Why not us? Like, why can't we do this? And could Yzerman go out and make some deals at the deadline? 100%, because he has he has some cap room. He has things he could do there, and he can possibly go out and make a deal. Like, are the Red Wings winning a Stanley Cup? No.
No,
they're not.
Not with that goaltending.
But with the team that they have, and the fan base would love a playoff round.
Sure,
just get around, and that's the thing that Detroit has compared to Toronto. Toronto fans want more than a round. They want. I think actually Toronto fans. It's going to sound ridiculous, but Toronto fans would be okay with winning 2 rounds this year. Because the realism starting to hit that city a lot, and it's not that people hate their team in Toronto, but I think they've succumbed to it. That it's like that we overspent these guys. Yeah, we love the team to win games on and on it goes, but maybe we're just not that good. The realism's there, which they're just not that good for the amount of money they're spending. They overspent with getting Tavares back in 2018, I think it was, and paying him $11 million a year. And it's like, well, now we have a 30-whatever-year-old guy who the league has passed him by. He's not fast enough. Like, and the league is so fast compared to what it was 5 years ago. It's changed. Literally, like, you and I remember back in the old Norris division days where just beat guys up and punch guys in the face.
Oh God,
that hockey's gone, right?
Oh,
and these guys are so highly skilled and so fast now. It's not. I don't think it's better, but the talent level is obviously higher.
Jacques Demers and John Brophy. That's all 100%. I can remember.
100%. And so, like, Tavares makes too much money for what he's got, and Detroit has some guys that can move the puck, they can skate, and their goaltending is just as good as Toronto. So it wouldn't surprise me at all if the Detroit Red Wings made the playoffs and the Leafs didn't. It'd be disheartening as a Leafs guy, but it wouldn't surprise me. They're just not they're not good enough. And when do you get to the point where you're like, okay, if we're just adequate every year, like, we're just adequate every year?
Yeah.
When do you blow it up? Like, it's enough's enough.
But you mentioned it. How can they with those salaries? I mean, you're going to have to find a team that's willing to take some of that hit. Maybe a contending team. I don't know, but that's a great point. After a while, you just gotta, I guess, swallow the toad. It's easy for me to say that because I'm not a Toronto fan. The fans have been waiting for what?
You think years. With the Lions, year in, year out, they were close. Miss out by one game, missed the playoffs by one game, and so mediocrity breeds mediocrity.
Yeah.
So if you're getting a mid-range draft pick, like, if you're gonna bottom out, you got to bottom out, because otherwise,
right,
in every sport, only the top 6 guys are difference makers. Otherwise, you're just getting a prospect or a player. You're just getting another guy. Rarely does the Tom Brady's or the Brock Purdy's of the world come out of the draft, right?
Right.
Way down. If you don't get a top 6 guy, you're just getting another guy.
Yeah.
Like you might as well draft a second, third, whatever. It's filled with a lot of hope. So yeah, just making the playoffs, it's almost a detriment and lose out in the round every year. Really.
Real quick, the Los Angeles Kings got rid of McClellan, and they brought in a guy that's kind of one of my favorites, Jim Hiller. I had a chance, Brent, to interview him when he played at Northern Michigan. Gosh, 30. Has it been over? It's been over 30 years.
Jim's been around the game a long time. Yeah.
Yeah. And, that was the year that Northern won the NCAA championship over Harvard, I believe it was, 8-7 in triple overtime. And, he gets a shot to be a head coach. Were you surprised? The Kings had a winning record. Were you surprised that they let him go?
They were flying to start the season, but it got to that point that they saw the bottom falling out, and the bottom wasn't ever going to get put back in.
Okay.
And it was like, oh, we got to do something here. Knee-jerk reaction by Robitaille, probably, but I think it's one of those, like, we have to do something. We can't.
Yeah.
One of those situations where they had to do something because they couldn't fire 30 players or 25 players.
Yeah.
And that would have been the right move, to be getting rid of the entire team and do it. That would have been the right thing to do.
Yeah.
Because they brought that Dubois kid in from Winnipeg, and that kid is nothing but a cancer. And he wanted out of Columbus, I think it was first, and he wanted out of Winnipeg, and then and now he's in LA. He got everything he wanted, and he's still playing like a piece of dog crap. Like he is. And I think that kid is just the sole reason why that team's struggling right now, because he's a cancer, and you can't get rid of a guy that you just signed to an $8 plus $8 million contract, or $68 million bucks, whatever it is. And you can't fire. It happens every sport, or Lou. You can't fire 25 players. And I think if Robitaille could have that day, he would have fired 25 guys instead of the coach.
Yeah,
because you don't forget how to coach. You don't.
Yeah.
Sometimes players just tune you out and it doesn't go well, because the Kings were on fire to start the season.
Yeah, they were.
But once again, the goaltending was really good too.
And
now it's not. So I find it, I personally hate it when coaches get fired. I can't stand it, because it justifies the entitlement of some of these players that it's not me, it's him. And it's been happening even before the age of the entitled quote unquote entitled player. Yeah. But I hate it, because like all of a sudden you go on a 4 or 5 game skid because you don't know what's happening, because they're in control of this many players, right? If a player's having trouble at home or whatever it might be, and it's out of your control, and then you're just, well, I guess I'm first to go. But they sign up for it. They know they have a lifetime. Even Scotty Bowman's been fired. Even Joe Torre got fired. Even whoever, like they get fired.
Yeah,
it's just one of those things.
They're hired to be fired.
It's sad to see, and they know going in. But Hilliard's got his hands full. But go for it, man. You never know what might happen.
Last question for you. We talked about Edmonton. They got their 16 game winning streak snapped. You talk about the pressure cooker in Toronto. Edmonton gets that 16 game winning streak. They're still 14 points behind Vancouver. And is the pressure still, is it still on in Edmonton for them to get to the cup?
Yeah.
Yeah.
It's cup or bust. You have a McDavid. Dreisaitl's contract's up at the end of next season, and McDavid's the year after. You're 8 years in with the best hockey player ever. Once again, not the greatest, but the best player ever.
Man,
you're 8 years in, and you haven't done a damn thing.
Good Lord, 8 years.
Yeah,
it just seems like he was Connor Bedard, man. I can't believe it.
Losing, it goes by so quick. And if they don't get it done this year, once again, as the 49ers, then when?
Yeah.
Then when? Like, what are we going to do? Like, Dreisaitl's going to want more money. He's at I think he's at $8 million a year, and he's going to want more, because that's just what it is. So how many more years has he got left in him? In Edmonton, it's cup or bust in Edmonton, and every team wants to win. Every team, a lot of teams know they're not going to win. When you have a guy like Connor McDavid on your team, It has to be the expectations is to win a cup. And I watched that game with Vegas last night. They should have won 17. They got goalied a little bit. Like that Aiden Hill played a fantastic game for the Vegas Golden Knights, and the Oilers should have won that game 5-2 probably.
Wow.
But they got to win. They got to win. And if McDavid doesn't win, we talked about it earlier, like if he has all these MVP awards and Art Ross and Maurice Richard and everything else on his Hall of Fame plaque, there's going to be the one thing missing, Stanley Cup champion.
There you go.
Yeah.
All right. Hey, one more reminder, pitchers and catchers report next week.
Because that's
spring training, baby.
See, I love the Super Bowl for 2 reasons.
Yeah.
It's a great watch. I know baseball is only 3 or 4 days away. So that's the thing for me with the Super Bowl.
Oh, spring training. Brent, tell us what you got going on with 1420 Sports Bar Podcast.
1420 Sports Bar Podcast, 4 beer sports talk, and a whole lot more. Me and Dave get together Mondays and Thursday nights. We have our own unique brand of sports talk. We try not to hit too deep on the stats and everything else because, you could read that on your own. So it's just Dave and I sit around, have a couple of pops, and BS about the world of sports, and who knows what. And put our own unique spin on things. And 14:20 in the morning, I got a different little gig going on, so that's going to be a couple days a week. And then there's stuff going on. But we're always on YouTube and everywhere else you find your podcast. But no, we have a lot of fun doing it, and it's good to talk sports and kind of make a quasi living out of this. So it's a lot.
Heck yeah. And again, I invite everybody to check it out. It is a great program and they do wonderful work and it is a lot of fun to watch. Hey, everybody, that's going to do it for another edition of the Captain Lou Extravaganza. Want to thank Brent Radlinsky from the 1420 Sports Bar Podcast for joining us as we talk Super Bowl and, of course, hockey now. It is going to turn into hockey season here right around the corner full time. So, hey, we'll be back again next Wednesday. We'll talk about the big game. We'll give you our feelings on it, and we'll talk a little spring training as well and get you geared up for everything that is the world of sports. All right, everybody. Until then, Captain Lou saying keep your heads up, keep your sticks down, keep your feet moving, and as always, keep your minds open. Good night, everybody. We'll see you next week here on the Captain Lou Extravaganza on 12 Ounce Sports and the Captain Lou Sports Network.